The once beloved item bestowed the name of Explodey chest by the community took a big hit in 3.14. Many of you probably still remember the good old days of pre-nerf Explodey chest. The Explode mod, which can roll on Crusader body armors, went from a guaranteed chance to explode to up to 35%. These days, it's mostly just used by Blade Vortex builds and some Ignite Chain shenanigans. I think the general consensus about Explodey is that it's nice to have, but you can't really rely on it to clear like you used to. So I've been playing with the shield skills, video coming out soon by the way. In the footage I'm just blowing up the whole screen with a 3-link shield charge. That would be the Explodey mod carrying my clear speed. I'm not gonna say Explodey's the same as before, but you can get it to feel pretty much just as good with a little more investment. You see, explosion chains will depend on a few key variables: your chance to create an explosion, the damage of the explosion, the radius, and mob density. The Explode mod went from 100% chance to explode down to between 11 and 35 for elevated, so at best it was roughly a 2/3 reduction. However, the damage went up from 3% or 5% for elevated to 10% of the mob's life. So in theory, with enough density, it shouldn't be that much worse. However, it's a little more complicated than that. Say you have a pack of mobs with 100% chance to explode. Even with a low base damage, the explosions will chain off itself since you'll get a bunch of overlapping AoEs, so every mob is going to get hit with multiple explosions. If we look at this one mob for example, it's getting hit with a bunch of explosions, pretty much getting shotgun. Realistically, a normal or magic mob will just die after the first few explosions, but you get the point. Now with the current mod, let's say every 3rd mob explodes. In order for the explosions to chain, each mob needs to be dealt enough damage from the explosions to kill them. With a lower chance to explode, you get fewer overlaps, but the damage is increased so it comes to, on average, just a bit worse. However, the thing is, more variance is introduced, so chains aren't as consistent and they'll tend to end earlier because sometimes the next mob doesn't even get hit by an explosion. To overcome this, you're gonna need more AoE. How much more AoE? Well, it'll depend on the other variables, how much you're scaling the damage, your explosion chance, and how dense your map is. With bigger packs, and with some more explode chance with, say, a weapon implicit, it's not too hard to get a bunch of overlaps. Also, if you run Herald of Ash, not only do you get more MTX value and some damage, the overkill dot actually helps with chaining explosions. Maybe there are a few stragglers at the edge of a pack or around a gap in the middle since they'll get hit with fewer explosion overlaps there. The Herald of Ash usually cleans them up, and they have a chance to explode too, so sometimes you'll notice a second slightly delayed explosion chain. I recommend trying it out even if you're not scaling Ellie damage. By the way, to actually scale the explosion, you want modifiers to generic AoE, generic damage, phys damage, and Ellie damage if you're converting, along with phys added as an element. I guess the bottom line is, Explodey chest is still really good if you scale AoE and phys damage. And if you're using a skill that already wants to do this, then it's almost a no-brainer inclusion for some of the best clear in the game.